So this video is going to be kind of off the dome, and it's something that I think is really, really relevant. And I see this among clients. I've experienced this myself, and you know, I, you need to have the mindset that you need to do more. Like whatever you're doing, you just need to do more. Whatever you think is enough, do more. And if I had to relate it to a business sense, let's just say sending emails, for example, right? A founder will tell me, yeah, I sent like 1,000 emails. Do you think 1,000 emails is enough information to really grasp how much data or what quality decision to make next, especially if it's mass automated email? Now imagine a million, 10 million emails. How much more powerful that information will be. And I think it fundamentally comes down to a mindset of a lot of the business owners under 5 million and the business owners I talk to over 5 million. I mean, one, they're way more, they're way less risk averse, right? Even like the head of sales or whatnot. Like we just signed on a $30 million company and they're like, yeah, let's test it out for a market and see if it works. Right? They're not scared to send out that volume because they fundamentally understand that you need to somewhat, I wouldn't say risk it, but you need to like kind of put your cojones on the table, right? And I'm not going to translate that, but you kind of just have to really put it out there. You have to do more. You have to put yourself out there more. You have to do more sales calls. You have to reach out to people more, right? And there's a reason why when you hire account executives or SDRs, you track them based on metrics of quality of inputs. Because fundamentally, as long as the training is good and there's a self learning loop, you're gonna find that as you do more inputs, you get more feedback, and as you take that feedback and learn and adjust, your rate of learning increases significantly. And so, like when I talk to a client or we onboard a client, like I really, I really try to make sure that they are someone who understands that you need you need more data. And like I'm not here to predict your data. I'm not here to predict what's going to work in your market or not. I don't have domain expertise in every single industry, and I never pretend I do. The arbitrage that we do and the value add we have of our service is that we help convert your offer to cold traffic. We get strangers to say hello to your offer. That's our arbitrage, and that comes from a quality of inputs that we can create a quality output. And think of just using LLMs or any sort of language model that's sort of your prompting. The more quality your input, the more quality your output. And so just remember, right? This is a volume, this is a data thing, right? You need to do more, right? And obviously, like I always tell people who are hesitant, like, yeah, they've had tried an agency in the past, right? And they're like, oh yeah, we've got burned in the past. Like, okay, how many emails have they sent, right? How many iterations? How many tests? Like, you cannot be a fortune teller in this day and age when you have data that's going to be as easily accessible through actually doing the action, right? And that's how you fundamentally hit scale at like 5 million plus. And as the people who are hitting 100 million plus, right? Different sort of mechanisms, but as you're experimenting using more different channels, you need data to support which channel you should invest more into, right? Like, I'm not going to tell someone who is scaled primarily through paid ads that they should stop doing paid ads if they have historical data comparing to other channels that paid ads has paid more dividends. They have a lower customer acquisition cost. Their LTV is higher. Their sales rate's higher. Their overall margins are higher. Why would I even bother telling them if they've already done the test beforehand? Right? Same thing with partnerships, 100 million plus. Like, you're going to have to leverage your partners, and for the deal sales cycles, the deal velocity, you calculate how many deals get lost at certain stages. Why are they getting lost? You reverse engineer. So it's all about data tracking, and really, like, when I work with founders who are below 5 million, there's always a general theme of like they don't really have their numbers in check, right? Or they're not really willing to test it out. They're actually more like they're cheaper, right? Because they don't want to invest in something that obviously is like we're not a cheap service, and I never ever want to advertise that we're a cheap service, right? And we have people who come to us after they try the cheap service because they didn't get the result they liked, right? And so for us, like we're very very adamant in who we take on, because like we're very picky of who we take on, because we want to make sure that we get someone with the same mindset of like, I'm not a fortune teller, you're not a fortune teller, you have the domain expertise, we have the crafting and vehicle to help transfer that into the market, and now how can in that market can we get people to say yes to meeting with you, and then eventually converting to more revenue so you can hit your growth goals and hit exponential scale and then go to the next level. All right, so it's just a mindset thing. I want to make a quick note. So yeah, think in data, right? Think in volume. Just do more. Whatever you think is enough, just do more. And I promise you, like when I started spending, let's say like I think 100,000 emails per month, right? I started sending 30,000 emails per month, right? And I was like, oh shit, this is a lot. I went to 100,000. Wow. It's like the mental barrier. It's really a mindset thing. You just realistically have to do way more than you think. And the person who's ahead of you is likely not just doing 2 or 3x more than they're likely doing like 10 to 100x. And you realize that as you hit more scale, that like, wow, there are people out there that are like way ahead of me, and you don't realize how much output they get for their input. And to only make those fine-tune adjustments, you need a grand amount of data, and the more data you have, the more fine-tuned and calculated those adjustments are going to be to pay for those higher leveraged outputs, right? If you can put 1x and you get 20x back because you have the data to support it, like if you send 30,000 emails per month, you might get 1 to like a 3x, right? But if you got like a 1 million emails, you might get 1 to 100x. Because you have calculated data you can now reposition, and then 70, 20, 10, 70%, keep the same 20%, kind of make a little adjustment, 10% off the wall ideas, and just continually iterate from there. So, yeah, think in data, dude. It's just super, super crucial.